Hi guys, welcome in. Oh my gosh, I'm late. I'm late for the first time this entire series, which is pretty good. Come on in, you guys. Come on in. We will get started. Come, Cassandra, welcome in, girl.
Hello, Cassandra.
I am so sorry I'm late. How are you? Miss Lojo, welcome in, you guys. How are you? How are you? Welcome in. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you. Yay, I made... Oh my goodness. That was crazy. This is the first time I'm late, you guys. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, glad to see you guys too. You did not miss me. Nope, nope, nope. I was still getting stuff together. Bowl Cuts, welcome in. Rain Love, welcome in. Hi, guys. Let me get my stuff here together. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry I am late. Let's share it out. Let's get our normies in here. Let's get our normal peeps in here. And who else? Who else we usually have in here? Thank you for the heart, me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you from Miss Lojo. Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh. Fave Ashley, we gotta make sure she is here. Let's see.
Hello.
I have... Sorry, guys. I cannot see ya. Okay. There we go. There we go. I think we got everybody shared out. So we will just get started here in a quick few minutes. First, let me give you guys the rundown for the two of you that are here. Graduation is coming along splendidly. Splendidly. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, you guys. We are going to play games. We are going to have prizes. Ainsley, welcome in. It's going to be fun. I will tell you, Constitution Bingo is top of the line. Constitution Bingo. Thank you for the heart me, Ainsley. Let me get my little live goal going here, you guys. Oh my goodness. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I am so happy you're all here. Justice, welcome in.
Hello, Justice.
All right. We are going to start tonight. We're going to get going because I'm running super late. Sorry. Give me 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
I am discombobulated. Okay. Hi, baby girl. How's school? Thank you for the heart, me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I am sorry I am late. Welcome in, class. Bowl Cuts, welcome in. Thank you for sending your heart me. You guys, everything helps. And I was just telling my husband that I am like... I'm done paying attention to any money on this app. You're okay. I was late too. I literally just got here like 3 minutes ago. Me too, Bowl Cuts. I feel you 100%. Janae, welcome in. Thunder Cycle, welcome in. Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. So you guys are all fine. Thank you so much for being here. Miss Lojo, thank you for the populars. Hey, Thunder Cycle, what's up, what's up? Welcome in, you guys. 8 of you. Thank you for the shares, you guys. Okay, so graduation. Constitution Bingo. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you, guys. Aw, you guys are so sweet to me every time I come. Thank you for the heart me. Hi, Heather. Welcome in. Yay. Everybody is here just on time. Welcome in, welcome in. I just got down here, just got settled. you guys. It's been crazy. A Thunder Cycle, thank you so much for the rose. Thank you. Okay, well, let's get started because I know some of you guys have IRL stuff and some of you guys jump around. And so we're going to get started with our information tonight because there's not quite as much as there usually is, but there is quite a bit. Janae, we are talking about a variety of topics. I have a case study we are covering tonight. We are going to discuss some government shutdown, so I hope Fave Ashley gets here soon because she prompted our question for this evening. Thank you so much for the populars. Kaylee Brown in the house. What's up, girl?
TT Duchess is live.
Okay, cool. Go join it if you want. Say hi. Kaylee Brown, welcome in, you guys. We're just getting started. Wait a minute. Did my live go get already? No. Did I miss it? Yeehaw! Welcome to the Constitution Connection. Thank you for the hat. Thank you so much. Who sent that? Who gave me a hat? Heather! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get my goal up here then. We had 2 of 10. I don't know why it's gone. I've been hearing that this is like glitching. Okay, we are trying again. And confirm. Okay, there we go. Ariana, welcome in. Okay, guys. I am sorry. Okay, let's get started on tonight. So yes, we're going to talk about some government shutdowns. We're going to talk about a case that I would like to look into. And we are going to talk about public opinion. Yay for public opinion. And we're also going to talk about political socialization. Those are the biggest things. I think I added some things, but those are the biggest topics that I want to cover tonight. Mostly because they kind of go hand in hand. And it just so happened that a Supreme Court case decision came down the line yesterday. Yesterday? Is it the 14th? 15th? What is it? It's the 15th. Yesterday. So a Supreme Court decision came down yesterday. It wasn't really quite a decision. Ariana, I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for asking. How about you? It wasn't quite a decision per se, but the federal government declined to hear it. They lost their appeal. It got escalated to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is kind of putting it on the back burner. So not a like landmark decision by any means, but I did want to bring it up and discuss it with you guys because it's very relevant, and it's very relevant to what we're talking about tonight, and also very relevant to the watch party that I have up. Baby Lucky Llama, welcome in, girl. That I have up in the Discord, and I will be circulating up in on TikTok as well. Elena, welcome in. Welcome in, you guys. Yay! Yeah, I believe everybody except like Fave Ashley and Lassie are here. Let me send out a... We'll let them know we're live again. Oh, thank you for the heart me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elena. Okay, so we are going to start with our case study. Give me 2.5 seconds. This might pause here because I gotta try and bring up my notes. Let me not put it over the comments. We'll put it over the top of my head. Ha! Let me make sure I can see the comments. Okay. So, the case that I wanted to discuss with you guys, actually, maybe I should go with the lesson. I know I said I was going to do the case first, but it kind of runs together. So let me set this case aside here for just a minute. And we'll start with Ariana. Great, wonderful. Echoes of Wisdom. Welcome in, girl. Welcome in. So good to see you guys. Okay, so yes, let me start covering Let me see how I want to do this, you guys. I don't want Fave Ashley to miss her question. Okay, let me ask you guys what you want to do. Do you guys... Hi, Danae. Do you guys want to cover case first or cover study material first that relates to the case? Somebody, anybody screen. Oh, just cute. Study first. Study. Okay, we got study first. Okay, so we will study first. Case first, Miss Lojo? Do we have another case? Do we have another vote for a case first? You're trying to decide? Okay, I'll give you guys a couple minutes. So we're going to cover the case either way because it does relate to our study material, but I don't want Fave Ashley to miss her question, so I'm going to give her a little bit more time to come in here, and that was regarding the government shutdowns. So I can either start with the case, and then we'll talk about how the study material... Study first because... Yeah, I think so too. Yes, I would say it does. You'll understand it either way because I broke it down really good for you guys, but yes, I agree, Cassie. I'm a case study kind of girl too.
Me too.
Okay, so let's start with studies, just because I think you guys will have be able to better form your opinion on the case, okay? And like Cassandra said, case study is so fun. I could spend literally 3 hours just studying case law. But okay, so we're gonna skip the question for government shutdowns until we see Fave Ashley in here. Flambini, welcome in, and we're gonna jump straight to political opinion is what we're studying. Perception and political opinion. How is it formed? What does it do? Why do we even need it? I think the most obvious answer is it essential to democracy? Are we kind of thinking yes, no, maybe so? Tell me what you think. We've discussed this in previous classes as well, so I think how I teach it is pretty well defined in our previous classes. But let me see what you guys think. Cassie Grant, welcome in. Let me see what you guys think. Opinions are the base of democracy. Yes. Yes, I would say I agree with that. Anybody else? Does anybody have a what are you doing? Does anybody else have a opposing opinion? Okay, girl, you busy. I hear you. The question is, what do we think about public opinion? Do we think it's essential to democracy?
I think so, yes.
Essential, maybe could do away with it. 50-50? Do we think it's 50-50?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Bowl cuts! Just got the number 3 gifter badge. Let me pull this up a little bit so I can see what's going on here. There we go. There we go. Thank you, guys. Okay, well, yes, baby Lucky Llama thinks yes. Cassandra thinks yes. Okay. Yes, I agree with you guys. I believe that public opinion is very crucial and essential to democracy because without public opinion and the voice of the people, well, what are we even doing here?
Honestly, I feel like it would just be unfair to the people too because the people has...
Tabitha, welcome in. Yes. Okay. So let's start by talking about our Democratic and Republican parties as they stand today. What do we think that Democratic and Republic, yes, indicates public freedom too. Yes. because our Constitution is based on, oh Lord, this is going to be all the heart me's everybody just sent. Oh, nope. Six different gifters to send finger hearts. Okay. Let me pull this real quick because I can't. Okay. So, what do we think our Democratic and Republican people are? Oh, thank you guys for the finger hearts. Thank you so much, you guys. What do we think that the Democratic and Republican parties are influenced by?
The people.
Anaya thinks by the people. Baby Lucky Llama says the people. You know you can type this stuff in the chat.
Yeah, just feel better saying it out loud. I feel part of the life.
Shareholders. Alina, you are... Greed. I hear you guys. Yes. So, you guys are correct, I would say, in my humble opinion. Yes, I think that our parties are both on both sides influenced by corporate interests. Now, if you remember, I said way back in class 1, like I really didn't want the class to teeter on like too much politics, but more policy, right? Platforms build on general standards on spectrum of conservative and liberal governmental authority. Yes, 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 yes. Indeed. So, while what we see a lot of times, and I'm not saying it is not a factor, the greed, the shareholders, and they're supposed to be influenced by individual freedoms they care most about. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You guys are all very 100% accurate. So, how we divide these two, though, is a issue of policy. Do we agree? It's an issue of where do people stand on policies. Yes, yes. We all agree that when we separate the two, we're looking at how they feel of policies, as was stated. Cassandra pointed it out as well. Okay, they're on a political spectrum. And then also Alina pointed it out. Is it Alina? Elena? Yes, yes. Everybody agree? Yes. Okay, so to distinguish the two, we are talking about policy. And we have to examine each person's approach to the policy, which differs, right? How they want to do it. And so Republicans tend to want less regulation because, as we know, and we talked about, we all discussed this, I believe, was it class 3, class 4? In a previous class session, we all discussed that that we've realized that some Republicans and some Democrats, that both on both sides are not always extreme, right? That there are some, welcome in, that there are some different that there are some differences in what each party wants, right? But not everybody is an extremist, so not every Republican is all the way to one side of the spectrum. Not every liberal is one way to the other side of the spectrum, right? We have different, it's a spectrum, like Cassandra was saying. Politics is a spectrum, and they are governed by checks and balances of the Constitution, etc., etc., etc. So we've also discussed that. Who remembers what anti-federalists? What was their beef with the Constitution?
They didn't agree with the U.S. Constitution. They didn't agree with the U.S. Constitution.
They didn't agree. What did they say? What didn't they agree with? They wanted very specific things, right? We discussed that. There was two top very specific things that anti-federalists wanted that they felt the Constitution would not provide in their benefit. Certain people and areas. Yes, Alina. So the Republicans, who are now Republicans, because you'll see, if you look at their policy even today, if you look at their policy, the two things that they really wanted was taxes. They really cared about their taxes. They really cared about their property, whether that was people or actual property, right? They wanted less regulation because they didn't want to be taxed, and they wanted their property to be protected. Anti-federalists were the same. On the other side of the coin, Democrats want to provide for people, but they also want more oversight. And anti-federalists believe that the larger the government, the less they would have. Right, Cassandra, the OGs. They believe that the larger the government, the less control they would have over their own individual freedom. Okay, like we remember talking about this. And Federalists said, well, we need to create a sense of government that has like a good balance between the two, right? Like the hands of justice. We need to be able to have the people have their rights and the government have their rights, and we need it explicitly stated in a document that is for everybody to know and listen to, right? So Democrats were the Federalists, and they are the ones who tend to stand more on the side of a larger government. Okay. It didn't really change, despite what people say. Like, you might hear things that, like, oh, the party's flipped, and that was a matter of public opinion, right? The party's kind of, it's what we see happening now. Like, some people are coming over to the other side, right? I'm trying to be careful with my words, but some people are saying are giving up on where they originally stood on politics, whether it's one side or the other. People are flip-flopping. So when you hear people talk about the change, it comes from more of a public relations side of things and less a political scientist side of things, if that makes sense. Okay. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Or am I rambling? Or do I need to explain more? Minister, welcome in. 1. Yay. Okay. All right. I want to make sure I'm not flying off the handle here and losing everybody. Okay. So, now, people who belong to those political parties have opinions that are grounded in their own ideologies, okay? Christian ideology, non-Christian ideology, political ideology. There's a lot of ideologies that can be studied that all go into a person choosing where they stand on a political spectrum for whatever reason they choose to stand there. But it's also influenced, people's political opinions and their ideologies are also influenced by the government, by private interest groups, and by the media. The effectiveness of each of these things depends on the individual person and the individual person's circumstance, okay? So you ask somebody, do you agree with, I don't know, anything, the president's last executive order? Say they say yes, I do agree. They might stand on it because of their life experiences, because of what media they're getting their information from, because of interest groups that may or may not have their, well, typically, yes, will have their money, and just what's happening in the government, either their actions or their inactions. Those are all forming people's political opinions. Now, people's political opinions get put into a category called political socialization. Political socialization is the process by which individuals are establishing their personal political ideologies. There are four things that affect this. Let me get you guys up here. I'm scared to use my whiteboard, you guys, because of this new regulation crap. TikTok needs some political opinions.
That's what I said.
That benefit the people. Anyway, there are four main agents of political socialization that we are going to kind of look into each of them, all right? First one is family. James Wells, welcome in. Second one is social groups. Third one is education. Fourth one is political conditions, as we just discussed and looked at. I know, Cassandra, they're like saying, oh, see, now this is all written backwards. Let me just turn you guys around. I do not care. They're saying like of static images. They don't want static images. So I don't know if my hands in that counts. I haven't really done much of review on it. Okay, can everybody see? All right, there we go. Okay, so we have, maybe I'll just keep moving and they won't care. All right, so we're looking at family, social groups, education, and political conditions. Those are four of your agents. I'm going to use PS, not PlayStation, political socialization. Okay, so agents of political socialization are those four things. The government, I'll turn you guys back around here. The government, through its actions or not actions and public relations, can significantly shape public opinion. And can anybody take a wild guess as to what the most powerful force in shaping public opinion is? Anybody guess? Out of
I guess.
It's not none of our four. It's not listed in our four.
The form of government.
Miss Lojo. Yes, Alina. Yes, outreach. Yes, you guys are, yay. Clap. Yes. So media is the most powerful force in shaping public opinion because it is the lowest cost and the most accessible for most people to get their information. Francis, welcome in. And so therefore, media impacts political socialization and people's ideology the most. Now, public opinion is highly reactive to current events, especially the economy. You see a lot of people play their thoughts and feelings and where they stand based on the economy. You'll even see people who are in the middle flip-flop based on whatever is happening in current events, particularly whatever is happening on the within the economy. STL Valley, welcome in. Okay. So conservatives generally believe that a large government poses their threat to individual liberty. I already said that. Liberals believe that the government can help solve problems and support interventions. Zaria, welcome in the economy through higher taxes and regulations. So that's how they implement their policies. That is the difference in their approach to policy. Okay. As far as those two ends of the spectrum are concerned. Now, everybody, like we were pointing out earlier, can be on they do not have to take one side or the other, okay? It is not a black and white issue. Your political lines look like this, right? So we have a spectrum. Say we have conservatives. Let me put this down. Oh, wow, you guys can't see any of that. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. Say we have conservatives over here, and we have liberals on this side, right? Which is generally the way, well, I think it's backwards for you guys. Whatever. Don't give me a hard time. Here, I'll switch it. Is that right? Yeah. Who cares? Okay. It's this ain't exact science. I'm just trying to demonstrate. Okay, so you have your one side over here, one side over here. Somebody could sit in the middle, which is what we call a moderate. Now let me explain something about this. A moderate is different from a independent. Okay? Let me explain myself why I am telling you this. Because it's important to note when you are talking to other people, especially when you're talking to people who have opposing views than you, this isn't kind of an important concept to know. Welcome back in, Bowl Cuts. Is that a moderate will not side this way or this way. Okay? They don't have an opinion. Okay? Man, sorry guys, my head's everywhere. Jade, welcome in. In Hamilton, you will hear him cast a vote at one point in the movie. They will ask him, everybody's waiting to know, who do you vote for? And he will cast his vote and he will say that one side has opinions and views and stands on a concept, and the other side does not stand on a concept, so therefore he did not give them his vote. So you'll see that happen, and the reason is this concept that I'm explaining to you right now. A moderate will have no opinion, okay? A moderate will not side one way or the other. In fact, in the reality of the world today, a moderate probably is a, yes, Elena, thank you. Here's the line, you guys. You can look out for it in our watch party, okay? A moderate will have... They will stand on none, and you will hear Hamilton say that. There's Hamilton right there, guys. See with his little finger up? Just like that. A moderate will have no beliefs, and he says to Aaron Burr, that's the character he's talking to. He says, "Well, Aaron Burr, if you stand for nothing, what will you fall for?" That's the quote. So he's saying essentially that Burr was a moderate. He really didn't stand on either thing. He was neutral, okay? Switzerland is a perfect example. Switzerland is neutral. A lot of times when we get into arguments in my family, I will say, I'm Switzerland. That means I'm not giving an opinion. I'm not standing with anybody. I'm not anything. I'm just over here. I'm present. And I want everybody to know that my voice is moderate, okay? That's what I believe. Now, an independent probably stands, you can have an independent here. And you can have an independent here. An independent will lean this way or they'll lean this way. So people often use this term. They'll say, I'm a moderate. Okay, they're using it interchangeably to an independent, or they'll say I'm independent. You probably more likely heard that. Oh, thank you, Heather. You probably more than likely heard that, somebody claims themselves to be an independent. If they don't vote, or if they have no say, if they have I'm out of it, okay? They literally do not have an opinion one way or the other, they're a moderate. If they do have an opinion that leans more towards here, they're an independent, conservative, or they're an independent, liberal, or if you want to say Democrat, Republican, whatever you are putting it on a political spectrum. So it's important to understand that these two terms may be used interchangeably when you're talking to people, and they are not the same when you're talking about political science and the political spectrum, okay? So that's my soapbox for the night, is that this is exactly what we need to understand when we're talking about a political spectrum, is that these two terms are interchangeable. An independent is more, and so they're right to some extent. Like if they're a conservative, I'm independent. I could go either way. If they say I'm an independent, I could go either way. They're not using the right term. So you can just think that in your head. You don't have to point nobody wrong. But, you will know in your head what they're actually saying. is that they're either more leaning towards conservative or they're more leaning towards a liberal stance on something. So they can be in the middle of the political spectrum and swing either way. Look at Arizona. This is why swing states are so important, because an independent is kind of a very dangerous weapon, right? Because an independent could literally side either way. A moderate has no beliefs, right? Well, they'll tell you they do. If they tell you they do, then they're an independent, not a moderate. Okay, down off that soapbox. You seen it. There's the political spectrum. It can go one way or the other. You got people who stand here, 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 but you also have people who stand here, right? All the way. And they stand here all the way. These are what we would refer to as an extremist. If they are all the way one down this way. Extremist. It's important to note that there are extremists on either side. Okay? Really, an extremist way to look at things is not that great. It's not great for democracy. It's not, because we need our laws. We need our laws to be moderate. That's what we want our laws to be. We want our people to be independent so that they can fully look at the law. All right? Our case study is going to look at this more. So that's why I'm hitting home on this point. Okay? And you'll see why. You'll understand. As soon as I start talking about this case, you're like, oh, it's all coming together by the time we review the whole case. All right? So that's that. All right. The other thing that is important agent of political socialization is family. This is probably the next biggest thing that we are going to discuss is family. I'm going to flip you guys around until I need this board again. Family is the most important source of political ideology through who? Who does it make it matter that our families are giving their political ideology to? Mutex, welcome in. Fave Ashley! We've been... Don't worry, I didn't mean to be testing. I haven't. We are just in the middle of, how are ya? So good to see you. We waited for you. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you. Welcome in. Okay, so we're talking about the 4 agents of political socialization. And thank you for those roses. Thank you. I appreciate you knocking that goal out of the park. You guys, thank you. And you're the title gifter. Okay, so who are families passing their, families passing their political ideology down to, you guys? Welcome in. That's so important. It's so vital. Thank you, Fave Ashley, for the popular. I'll give y'all a moment. Y'all know. Quit playing with me. Amen. Fave Ashley. Here it is. Their children. They pass their political ideology. Yes, children. Miss Lojo. Yes. Yay. Yes, you guys are correct. They pass it down through their children, and their children either adopt or reject. Thank you, Fave Ashley. Thank you. Adopt or reject their parents' political beliefs. So that is the reason. Thank you so much. That is the reason that family becomes the most important source after the media of political socialization. What's another one? What's the third? You're going to see these all come together. It's wild that we are discussing this in this class. When I discuss this case, you guys are going to be like, oh my God. all 4 main agents are present. Shy the Poet, welcome in, welcome in. Let me set my new goal while you guys are thinking. There is another one. Okay, we said it. It's one of our 4 political socialization agents. It's the 3rd one. I'll give you a hint. It's a big institution, not the government. We already know the government does its number. Yes, Cassandra, Miss Lojo, yes. Schools are agents of political socialization through their teaching, their teachers, and their curriculum, okay? Now, let me ask you this. Faith Ashley, that is a good one as well. Yes, because remember how we discussed that religion and state were never actually separated. However, it isn't the 3rd largest, but it is a factor. You are correct. The 3rd factor is schools through their teaching and their curriculum. Because where do our kids go? So they're going to look up to teachers and take on teachers' political ideologies and opinions. When Orange took over in my kids' schools, they were told by one of their teachers that he was going to end their education. And our kids came home scared. I was a little upset, too, that came out. But, so that's an example. That is an example. Schools will move as agents of political socialization. Okay, so how does this affect public opinion? Public opinion is defined as how a nation's population collectively stands on vital policy issues and evaluates political leaders, okay? Public opinion is highly reactive to current events. We already said that, right? And we already discussed how the media does it, and we got our 4 agents. And we talked about what political socialization is. So, public opinion now is basically accounting for the people in the political socialization spectrum, right? All right. A central debate in political science is whether the public is sufficiently informed enough to have a say in guiding policy or changing policy or making policy. So therefore, in order to get the Constitution passed, we had to go into that social contract that we discussed last week and in the first week, because we decided that it was better to elect representatives to represent each of the people in each of the states or towns and all that, to send them to guide policy rather than give people the ability to decide on policy for themselves, okay? And just vote on each individual policy. Each individual is going to vote. I'm voting on this policy, I'm voting on this policy, I'm voting on this policy. While we do still see that in local government, you see it less because we elected representatives to go forth and represent us in federal government. So the debate is this: is the U.S. population ignorant of majority of policies? And so therefore, if they voted on policies directly, then they would mess it up, essentially, because they're ignorant to the fact. And let's remember that ignorance is not always meaning dumb. In fact, it never really intended to mean dumb, right? Ignorant means not aware. Put a 1 in the chat if you know that ignorance does not equal stupidity. Anna, welcome in. Exactly. Yes. And this is why, Lassie, welcome in, girl. You're here just in time. One. Yes, thank you. Okay, great. So, ignorance does not mean stupidity. Ignorance means you don't know. If I grow up one way and the next person grows up the other way, and I know a lot about poverty and the next person didn't have to deal with poverty issues, then they will be ignorant to poverty issues. Hence why we decided that a social contract was better to put the power in a government to influence and pass policy on our behalf. Lori with the love. Oh, welcome in. Oh, it's so good to see you. I feel like it's been forever. How are you? So rather than let us vote on all of our policies, because ignorance exists amongst almost everybody. And we talked a little bit about that. Thank you, Lori. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. The other argument is that the general population is rational and stable. It's okay, Lassie. You're here. That's all that matters. It's so good to see you. We are talking difference in public opinion, and we haven't even gotten to our case study yet. So y'all are good. You're here just in time. Thank you. It's so good to see you guys. Okay. So, those are the two debates by political scientists, and it's a debate that has happened in the past, still happens today. Now, for public opinion to effectively influence government, the public needs to know what it wants, 1, communicate what it wants, 2, and 3, the government must respond to what the government wants. And what does that mean? No shutdowns. That's what that means. We can't have shutdowns because it impedes this process for public opinion to affect government, influence government, which is kind of impeding on our constitutional rights, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that statement. That if the government doesn't respond to us, that's a violation of our constitutional rights. 1. Yes. If you disagree, I will refer you back to the Constitution. Thank you. And Naya says 1. Yes. Amen, Elena. Yes, this was a perfect representation of what we're discussing. Taxation without representation, which, did you guys know, that's not actually listed in the Constitution? It is incorporated that they cannot do it in the U.S. Constitution, but it's never actually stated that taxation without representation is illegal in the Constitution. However, you are still correct. It is not. Nothing ever directly states that taxation without representation is a constitutional right to not have that happen. There are things that would make it hard for it to happen. Oh, thank you for the heart puff and the rose. Thank you so much. There are things that would make it hard for that to happen because of the way the Constitution is set up, because of federalism. But it doesn't actually implicitly defend taxation without representation in the Constitution. Those specific words is what I'm saying. Okay, so how then, if public opinion is needed to influence the government and the government needs to respond to public opinion, what method do we use to gauge what is public opinion? Yes, what Elena said. This is a current event. This is exactly it. This is how issues for asylum seekers and immigrants arose. Social media, okay, yes, and that is a form. And what's the method called? You get them all the time. You do it on social media. So you're very close, like you're hot, Ashley. Yes. Faye Ashley is correct, and Elena is correct. Thank you so much for the rose. Yes. Polls, news, yes. Social media, votes, conferences, interviews, anything, right, that we already discussed. Social groups, political conditions. Okay, so the exact word for it is polling, and that is the primary method that we use here in the U.S. for gauging what is our public opinion. Where do we stand? Why should we stand there, right? Majority rules. The Constitution set it up so that the majority rules, and the majority cannot, right? Cannot, a big no. Barbie's Custom, welcome in. The majority cannot make laws that disproportionately affect minorities. That's constitutionally protected. Okay, we've had that discussion. Everybody, we all know. So, no offense if anybody thinks anything different. I'm just giving you the facts. And if you don't believe me, you can just go read it. So, we have to know in studying that political opinion that politics and government are not the same thing, okay? Political science and the law, not the same thing. We discussed that at our other class as well. But as we established earlier, public opinion is essential to democracy. So we have to look at how do people express what they want and how should the government respond. That is essentially a political scientist's job in a nutshell, okay? They are examining the processes by which people express what they want and how they feel the government should respond. And then you have lawyers who come in and say, this is lawful, this is lawful, this is lawful. You'll see that when I cover Fave Ashley's question about government shutdowns. You'll see this. So, public opinion turns into polling, turns into majority rules, right? How our government is set up, turns into elections. Because that is how we express what we want, is via elections. They exist in the U.S. to manage the complexity of a large and diverse nation by choosing representatives rather than voting on every policy directly. Okay, that was the point. That's why we established elections. Now, does anybody remember who has control over how elections work? I'm talking how many people can run? How often are we voting these people in? How old do they have to be to run? Experience, education, all of these things. Who sets those up? For federal, yes. Who sets them up before it hits Congress? You are correct. Congress does set them up for the federal level. The Electoral College is elections. Legislation. Okay, which legislation? Remember, we have two forms of government, and they're separate but equal. We're not talking, well, we could be talking about government like the, executive, judicial. We could be talking that. But what's below that? Who does Congress, we elect people to go to Congress. Where do they come from? They come from, that's part of Congress, the states. There it is. Good guesses, though, Fave Ashley. It's exactly good guesses. You're on the right track. No, you got it. So yes, federally, you're correct. It would come from Congress. Congress would say federally, you have to be this old to run for president. But what I'm aiming for is lower than that. So the states have the power to determine their states' representatives, how old you have to be, all of that. Okay, all the conditions and requirements, the Constitution gives the power to the states, okay? It is separation, or not separation. It is a separation of federal government and state government. And the Constitution gives our states a lot, right? States' rights. So, the Constitution provides limited but key structures for elections. However, the states have control over the election administrations. We operate in the U.S. by something called the plurality rule, which is basically just that the candidates with the most votes win. It's a fancy word for that. There's also the majority rule, which allows a candidate to compete in like runoffs. You see those in state elections, which is basically like we have 4 candidates and we're slowly dwindling, and they're basically going to have a face-off for the highest 2 candidates. Okay, that's called a majority rule. The plurality rule is whoever has the most votes wins. So you're not taking rather than taking 2 candidates with the most votes and making them run against each other, you're taking the candidate with the most wins. So this is how we would say elect a president. But when the states are saying what they want, you're going off of a majority rule rather than plurality. Okay. So, now that we have a general consensus of how public opinion and the debate on public opinion, we understand that people have, the differences in our parties. We understand where people can stand on political spectrum and that they are not all extremists. You don't have, a bunch of anybody who stands to you and says, no, I didn't agree with that, I'm a Republican, is not an extremist. And anybody who stands next to you and says, I'm a liberal, I didn't agree with that, is not an extremist. Okay? You have your independents. And then, let's look back at our map real quick before I move on. Okay? Then, remember, you have your moderates who don't stand one way or the other. And then you have people who are like, here, like, you can have people extremely close to extremism without actually being extremist, right? On both sides. And then you have people who fall anywhere. This is a spectrum, you guys. It's a spectrum. This is so important to understanding that people are people and they will people, okay? They will go around and they will say what they want to say. It's just important for understanding that people are people, no matter how small. Oh, bonus points if someone knows where that's from. It's not a musical. Oh, wait. I would consider it kind of a musical. Fave Ashley, thank you for the repost. Anyway, okay, so, yes, Elena, thank you. Yes, Miss Lojo, it is. It's from the Lorax. People are people, no matter how small. You hear people say it a lot of times when it's concerning babies in the womb. We won't say the actual word here. And what rights do that child have? So, yes, 2 people can consider themselves like still way over here on the left, but this is a varying degrees of leftistness, right? They can also consider themselves independent, so they may come over here and lean more towards like the end of the libertarian spectrum. They may lean more towards being full libertarian. They may lean over here this way and be more independent in their views, or farther, they're closer to a moderate. And 2 different people can be sitting in this by itself. Millions of people, really. Okay? So it's just important understanding we can love everybody. Man, I love Horton. Here's a who too. People are people no matter how small. That's the quote, Elena. A person, I think it's something like that. But yes, it was from the Lorax. So this will just help you guys accept people for who they are, regardless of how they stand. You do not have to necessarily agree with them. A political spectrum is just that, a political spectrum. And politics are only a small part of our life. Like, they're big when it comes to what we're talking about in the government, but they are not big when we are talking about equality in anywhere else or any other situation. They're not quite as important if you're talking about family values, right? We just need to understand. Hi, MacGyver! Welcome in! Good to see you. So we just need to understand that we have to love everybody, you guys. And let's not reduce ourselves to anything political, please. Thank you for the heart, me MacGyver. I appreciate you. Bailey, welcome in. So I just want to drive that point home, okay? We have to stop letting political things divide us as people. Okay? That's my soapbox. It will make the world a better place. Thank you, Lassie, for my heart, me. Thank you. And thank you, MacGyver, for the love you so much. I appreciate you. So yes, that's my stand up on that. So we have to understand that it's a political spectrum. Not everybody who's saying that they are one way or the other is going to be all the way one way or the other, or have any other views that line up with their political values necessarily, per se. Although it does influence, because there's 4 agents, right? There's family, there's social group, there's education, there's political conditions. Okay, so here we go. Shifting. Now, that was the lesson. So here is the question, or here is the, well, we'll do the case. We'll do the case study, and then I'm going to answer Fave Ashley's question, okay? So the case study is Lee v. Poudre, P as in Paul, O-U-D-R-E, School District. Okay, can we already see how this is gonna mesh with what we were just talking about? Okay, I am not taking a political stance on this case. I want to make that distinguishment right now because I love all of you. And don't leave me because you're like, I don't agree with what happened in court. Okay, I'm just a messenger. Thank you all for being here. So that is my segue because this is kind of a touchy topic, and I know that it could lead to a political debate very easily. My point is so that you can guys see what we are talking about in action. And the reason that I brought this case today is because it just came down yesterday. The court made a decision to hold off on hearing it. However, they lost their original case, filed an appeal, lost their appeal, and went to the Supreme Court. Okay? I will give you my opinion on their political I will give you an opinion on their lawful arguments. After we get done with the case. Okay, so let me pull up. Hold on, y'all. What's up, Anaya?
Auntie said she ordered the link.
Okay.
She just needs you to send it to her.
Okay, can you help me with that? Because I'm busy right now.
Yeah, I can go grab it.
Okay. Okay, so if you took down, let me actually write it on my whiteboard so you guys can take a screenshot if you want. Has anybody heard of this case happening, or is this new to everybody? It's okay if it is. I love teaching new things. I'm going to set up a goal here before but can't remember the specifics. Okay, you may have heard it. It was covered. Some news coverages. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so let me get you guys the name so you can either say so you can either screenshot or write it down. I'll give you the docket number in case you guys want to look it up. I pulled it up on Free Law. The Free Law Project, guys. And if you use the docket number and enter in the title, you will find the document pretty quickly. Okay, so let me turn this around here. Maybe. Sorry, guys. There we go. Found it. All right, there is the case number. Lee versus Poudre School District R-1, docket number 24-539. That is the case we're looking at today. I'll give you guys a few minutes here. Oops, now my hand is in your way. Okay. Okay, so the plaintiffs in this case, okay, 5, 4, 3, if you're screenshotting, 2, 1. Okay, I'm flipping back around to me. Okay. Okay, so the plaintiffs in this case were two families, both of which had children enrolled in this particular school district, which was in Colorado. Specifically, one was a middle school, which combined the school, condensed it so that it was middle school and high school. The defendants were the school district's Board of Education, several members of the district's administration and staff, including the principal, an art teacher, a substitute teacher, and club facilitator. The jurisdiction, I already told you guys, was in Colorado. And let me tell you about this case, and then we will break it down exactly how we did our case review last time. And I will give you guys a chance to tell me what you think. You remember how we broke down our case study and we said, what is the legitimate legal question here? Because anytime that you decide that you want to get the courts involved with anything, you have to have a legitimate legal question. Otherwise, the courts are going to kick it out right off the bat. So this particular case, let's do, wow, so many options. Okay. This particular case had to deal with teachers in schools. So, as we discussed, public opinion is influenced by schools, right? Family, social groups, education, political conditions. That's what it's influenced by. So, in this particular case, we are dealing with an art club that was specifically having a curriculum that had to do with, I'm trying to think, gender fluidity, gender associations, along that spectrum, okay? They were talking about very tender things in school to not only an 11-year-old, but also to a first grader. I think they said she was like maybe 6, 8. No, 6 is kindergarten. I don't know. Anywhere from like the age of 6 to 10. If I see it in here, I'll say it because it might, if I see it in my notes. Yes, first grade. First grade. Here is the kicker, all right? They had this group, right? They were under the impression that their children were going to an art club, but this art club was enveloped with all of these things, all of these discussions that they were having, less from art, according to the kids. So they were enrolled in these two schools, right? Their parents decided to sue the school because their daughter came home and said that they discussed self-unaliving, that they said it was higher amongst teens who were trans. We're probably going to get restricted, you guys. I don't even care. That were trans children. They were discussing very sensitive things about transitioning, and so she went home and told her parents that she now thought that she wanted to transition, and that she was told not to discuss anything that was discussed in this class. Thank you guys for 49K likes. I appreciate you. not to discuss any of these things with her parents that had been discussed in this club. So that was the big thing, is that not only were these children told to all of these things in this club that was supposed to be an art club, but they were told to not tell their parents. I do not care personally as a parent, in my humble opinion, what is being told to my kid one way or another, if I agree with it or do not agree with it. Do not ever tell my child to not come home and discuss those things with me. Exactly, Miss Lojo. Exactly. The secrecy, red flag, line drawn. Yes, Lori. Yes, I agree. So you're already seeing the legal implications. 100%. Alina, yes. Having them keep it secretive was a big issue in this case. So, like I said, they did take it to the state of Colorado. The state of Colorado said nope, they didn't like the decision. They went to appeal to an appellate court to review the decision. The appellate court did uphold that they lost the case. So remember, we have to distinguish what is a good legal argument and how did they win or lose a case according to the law, right? Because the judge's job is to what? What is a judge's job to do? Remember we talked about this when we said why the federal government wasn't the ones that were going to come save us. We discussed what was the judge's what was the federal judge? Yes, judge the evidence and interpret the law, right? They're supposed to look at all of the evidence and determine whether or not a lawsuit or a legal... Sorry, guys. I lost you there for a second. Was legitimate, right? They have to evaluate. And so their job is to strictly interpret the law. And they have to take the evidence and interpret the law and decide who wins, who loses. So, because these kids were told to keep it secret, their parents found out, and not only were they told to keep it secret, their child came home with a vision of themselves that led to mental health issues. So they claimed, right? Allegedly, because, I don't know, this case was set on the back burner, okay? The Supreme Court is not hearing it right now, but it could come up as an issue in the future. We've seen it with X and X and Y chromosome marriage. Okay, we've seen it there again as well. That came up to the Supreme Court several times before it was decided on. So this particular case is just very recent. The Supreme Court just kicked it out just yesterday. And so the parents presented all of this evidence. My kid had mental health issues. Now they think they want to transition and it's hard for them to live because but what do we think is the legitimate legal argument that caused it to even go to court in the first place? They got sued, we said, because of the secrecy, swearing their kids to secrecy. And this was not even a full-time faculty at this school. It was a fill-in teacher. I don't know why I'm blanking on the word, but it was a teacher that was a substitute. It was a substitute teacher who happened to also start over 10 chapters of this organization at elementary and middle school level. So they told them, don't tell your parents. They discussed all of these things that children should be discussing with their parents. And then the kids started showing mental health distress because of the information they received, up to and including self-harm attempts. Very valid reasons to take something to court. If you ask me, if it were my children, right? Put a 1 in the chat if it was your children and you would have done the same thing. Yes, Lassie, very sad. Very sad that even happened. Let alone had to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. Yes, one. Yes, okay, we are all on the same page. So, with this, Miss Lojo, okay, tell me why. I'm not saying I'm not because I disagree with you. Remember this, I'm promoting discussion. The lawsuit seems extreme. Why you say? Because obviously there's a legal reason, right? There's a legal reason these got kicked out of court. Or that they lost. They lost at 2 different levels. Okay. I think I agree. So basically, Miss Lojo is saying you can remove them from school, right? We can complain to the school board, which in this case he did. He did go to the school board and sat down and had a meeting with the school board. The school board said, obviously, that it didn't have any wrongdoing, that the kids' mental health was not affected by this. You could advocate. You could even advocate to get them fired, right? So why, like, do we think that these reasons were legitimate enough reasons to get this lawsuit kicked out in court? Lori with love. Yes.
No.
It is not. It is so true. It is true. So the legitimate legal question is, and this is what was presented in court with the facts that you guys have, there's no way to determine if this is what the kid actually wanted, and this was their way to tell. Yes. Right. So we can see the other side, right? Because in law, we have to evaluate both sides. We have to take everything into consideration. So Lori with love and Miss Lojo, you both are correct. 2 legitimate legal stances as to why this did not stand up in court is, 1, there was not an established law that they were violating. What they argued in this case was that the law was against their First and their 14th Amendment rights. That's what they said the school district violated. I personally think, okay, so they said the 14th Amendment because, remember when we looked at federalism, right? The 14th Amendment also mentions parental rights, and that the Constitution defends parental rights unless a parent has been found unfit to continue to raise a child. So, as Lori with love said, does it actually violate your parental rights? Because as Miss Lojo said, you had other options, right? We didn't exhaust all of our administrative options before we took this to the Supreme Court. Essentially is what a judge ruled. Because while he did go to the school district, he did not advocate for, like, any other option. Also, you could disagree with a school and pull your kid out, and there's nothing stopping you from sending them to private school, right? Which coincidentally is coincidentally the relief that they fought for. They fought for relief for having to send their kids to private school. They also fought for relief like counseling wages. This was their plea to the court, that they wanted this wrong to be righted by, for one, setting a limit of like how far these schools could go. So they wanted limits on the curriculum and what they could teach. But is that not seen as promoting like a violation of someone else's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? We're not saying, do we agree with it? We're saying, does it violate other parental rights to put restrictions on a school's curriculum?
No.
Red flag, but law, exactly. Does it violate their parental rights to hear things they disagree with or be told not to tell? Right. And so we discussed this, remember when we played Bill Blitz, right? And we discussed, does it violate other people's rights to make them eat cookies every night after dinner? Remember we had that debate? Is it a constitutional thing? Could we pass that constitutionally without violating other people's rights to say, I don't like cookies. I don't want to eat them after dinner. I believe that was Zaria's bill. And we also debated it with Cassandra's bill, right? And we said, is it against a company's constitutional rights to force them to let everybody take a 2-hour siesta every day in addition to their lunch break? Team cookies. Yes, we were. We did actually pass that bill. and we passed it because we offered other options, right? That was a fun one. I did enjoy that. Bill Blitz is a fun game. Yes. Right. Right, Lori with love. If my right to happiness is challenging somebody else's right to happiness, it is unconstitutional. That's what a judge is going to tell you. So to say that it went against their freedom of speech or their freedom of religion or their freedom of press, as stated under the First Amendment, in my humble opinion, wasn't a great argument. I'll give you another example. The TikTok ban. Okay, the case on the TikTok ban. I crashed out when I heard that the argument that they made at the Supreme Court was under the First Amendment. I understand why they argued that in lieu of a TikTok ban. I understand why they say that, but understand this. That right is afforded to the creators, not to the TikTok platform itself. And that was part of the debate. I watched that entire case on C-SPAN when they were debating that, and it was a huge issue that what the attorneys were fighting for, they were fighting for the rights that were afforded to people and not to a business entity. So I crashed out because I'm like, why would you pick that? There was so many better amendments that it could have been violating as the company itself. So ultimately, they lost in court because it wasn't a question of First Amendment freedom. And that's how we got here where we are today. Back to the case that we're looking at. They said it violated their right to decide how their child was being raised. Does it? Does it? Were they, confined to school 24/7 and their parents don't have a right to say, I don't agree with that? Or were their due process being violated under the 14th Amendment? Because that was an argument that they made in court. Are we seeing why these are also legitimate arguments? And same can be said of the political spectrum, okay? Conservatives bring up good points when they say, okay, let's have EBT, but how the heck are we paying for it? That's a legitimate legal question, right? We got to have a plan in place for where these funds are coming from. Congress has got to appropriate those funds, right? Okay, right. So we're looking at the same things. You guys can start to see how we have to look at cases on both sides as a holistic thing, and why some judges would say that a case like this is not warranted to be argued at the Supreme Court because, I'm sorry, but your First Amendment right wasn't actually violated. Were they wrong for saying that? Yeah. Would I be mad if that happened to my child? Yeah. I get mad for a lot less things that happen to my children in public school. But the reality is that even if that public school, say they did, and the judge said, oh, they still probably wouldn't get their reprieve that they wanted. I would tell you what would happen. The school would probably withdraw for public school system, and they would consider themselves a private entity. And once they're a private entity, there's a lot more loopholes, right? They can say. Now, the other thing that they did ask for reprieve that I do think was valid is that they requested in this case that the school give at least a minimum of 14 days notice to parents that they are going to be discussing this, and the parents have the option to withdraw. So here's another big reason that they lost in court. They signed paperwork when they signed their kids up for school stating that these issues may be discussed. Thank you guys for all the engagement. I appreciate you. So ultimately, as Miss Lojo stated, like, there were other routes you could have gone before you took it to court. Unfortunately, I side with the judge on this one as far as a legal stance goes, that while it was wrong what the school did, Thunder Cycle, welcome back in. While it was wrong what the school did, and it definitely, I think, caused chaos for these two families that were involved and the 4 students that were involved in this case, I do believe that I think that their parents were kind of exaggerating on the amount of stress that this provided on their child. And I also think that they just flat out argued the wrong argument in court ahead of time. Exactly. And if they would have read, remember we talked about this before, if they would have read what they were signing, they would have known that this wasn't going to hold up in court. Now this family spent buttloads of money going to state court, going to appellate court, and then going to the Supreme Court. Ultimately, for the Supreme Court to say, these are not legitimate legal arguments for why I should hold them accountable for their actions. The judge's decision said the parents signed the paperwork. So, important, as we've discussed before, to separate our feelings, because this is a very hot topic, and it's very easy for people to say, oh my gosh, how could they do that? How could they get away with that? No, the court should have sided with them and given them their... But when you look at it from a law standpoint, they signed something that said that they knew. Had they not signed that, we would have been debating an entirely different thing in court. Right. And if their beliefs... Right, Lori. Yes. And if their beliefs did not align with that, even if they signed it, they're like, hey, yeah, I signed it, I wasn't paying attention, but I still don't agree. You still have an option. So saying that it affected your First Amendment rights really is not a strong argument to take to court. Again, same as the TikTok ban. It really wasn't a strong argument to be arguing on the creator's behalf when we were talking about TikTok as a business entity. And they were arguing that it was affecting the business entity. So to bring in the creators, to me, that should have been a separate case. You should have sued in a separate case on the creator's behalf, and you should have sued in a separate case on the behalf of the business entity. And I think we would have won if we would have done that. But you can see how we have to separate our feelings, and how we could say, some people might even agree. Some people might say they want their child to have that education, right? So ultimately, we have to go down the middle, and we have to say, we have to make our parents aware that this is going to happen. And we have to give them due time to make that happen. But they did do their diligence when they had parents sign a release form saying that your children might. Where they failed was that they didn't do that for this specific club to be established at that school. So were they in the wrong? Yes. In my opinion, they were in the wrong. Did it warrant a lawsuit? No. I don't think it warranted a lawsuit in court. And I think ultimately that is why the judges set it aside. They did not throw the case out. So, are there any questions about that, to that effect? If not, wrong, yes. Illegal, no. Yes. And you'll find this in a lot. If you read court documents, like, you'll get partway through. We talked about it with the hot dog man case. That Kaylee Brown and I, hashtag hot dog man, you guys. That particular case, you will go on ups and downs because you'll be like, this is morally bad, but legally you're guilty. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll be like, legally, this is just a really crappy case. Take it from someone who has studied for the LSAT. There are some things that come up and you are like, what? And then you will look it up and they were legitimate arguments in court. Everything on the LSAT is a legitimate legal argument. And so that makes it hard because it puts you on this roller coaster of law versus ethics and morals and how do we police ethics, right? We can't. We cannot, okay? If you don't believe me, go look up any social study on this specific thing. It has been determined that more often than not, you cannot police morality. People cannot govern themselves and you cannot police their morality. And in fact, our Constitution defends not policing morality because that is freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of XYZ. You insert whatever you want, that is their freedom. And so the Constitution is very big on not policing people's morals. And so you will read a lot of cases that you go on these big, like, oh my gosh, I feel like this. Yes, I think they should find them guilty. And then you read the next page and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see why they're not guilty. Or I can see why they do deserve to pay for what happened. Okay. So put a 1 in the chat if we're all on the same page. And we're going to move to the last topic for tonight, which is Fave Ashley's question. How we doing? Are our butts hurting? Are our heads hurting? One. Wonderful. Yes. We'll get one more, and that's going to be, that's 50%. So, All right, I think everybody is on the same page. Okay, so that was our case study for tonight. The legitimate legal question from our case study was, do parents have a right to decide how their kids are being raised? And in that case, was that right taken from them? And did it violate their First Amendment? Those were the top legal questions in that case. The document is 34 pages long, so I'm trying to summarize it as best as I can for you guys. The legal remedy that they were asking for was constraints on curriculum, constraints on the school, and reimbursement for mental anguish and counseling and private school tuition. And the decision that came down, the Supreme Court refused to hear it this time around. I can't quite remember. If you know the answer to this, you can put it in the chat. How many cases generally on average does the Supreme Court hear a year? Like in a time? I have Googled it before and I knew it one time, but I can't quite remember the number. But it's not a very high amount of cases. And so a lot of times the Supreme Court will defer cases for a later time. So keep an eye out. I will keep an eye out. But this case we might see come back up again. Also because the families obviously have a good amount of money that they're throwing at these cases. So I suspect that we will probably see this come up again at some point. Whether we see it come out of Colorado, because they can they could change their argument and go back. Welcome in. Okay, so I suspect that we will hear more about this. 80-ish cases. Thank you, Cassandra. So yes, and in a given administration, this is like over the course of 4 years, in a given like presidential administration, they'll hear about 80-ish cases, somewhere around there. Nina Marie, welcome in. Thanks for coming, girl. How are ya? Okay, so there you go. If I hear anything, we'll keep up on it because this just happened yesterday. So, no, not the case. The case has been going for a while through the different courts since, I think they said 2016. I'll have to double check on that. It's like 16 or 17 that they started. And it's just now reaching the Supreme Court. So, that's that. So I'll let you know if I hear any updates on this case or new filings in this case, which you can also follow on Free Law, you guys. Free Law is the place to be, okay? We already know that media has a huge impact on how people think and feel about politics. Get your information and get it from good, respective sources, okay? It's my soapbox on that. Free.law. All right. If you type in the Free Law Project to Google, it will take you right there. You have to do some digging around. But if you know like a specific case, like if you screenshotted this specific case, you can go in there, type, it was in the 10th district. So you can pick that from their drop down menu. You can type in the name and the docket number, and it will pull it up, all the paperwork.
Did you get my charger yet?
Okay. So we're going to move on to Fave Ashley's question, the last topic that we are going to discuss tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. So Fave Ashley's question was, could I discuss government shutdowns? Nina Marie, I'm glad you're doing well. Let's discuss government shutdowns for a minute. We are in one currently. We are going on day 14. But we've also seen, for what?
Chrissy forgot her charger in her car.
Why were you in our car? I'm going to talk to you about this later.
She needs it. Her charger, her phone charger, remember?
I don't know where my keys are. Okay, so she asked me about government shutdowns. Sorry, intermission. For a quick second. All right, so she was asking about government shutdowns arising from funding or arising from anything. We are in one. I know, Fave, actually. For real. Yes, ma'am. It's so true. Almost every class, you'll see me like, huh? What are you asking me about right now? Thank you, Lori. Thank you guys for sticking with me. All right. So she was wondering about government shutdowns. So we are currently in one. We are on day 14. There has not been no resolution as of now. So I wanted to run down with you guys this very important information that I scraped up about Mama G. Welcome in. Hey, girl. Hey. How are ya? We are just answering Fave Ashley's question on government shutdown. So you're just in time. Welcome to class 5, you guys. Welcome to everybody just coming in. Thank you for being here. And pat on the back to everybody. Well, welcome in. Thank you all for being here. Okay, so let me address this question about government shutdowns. Government shutdowns are becoming more and more prevalent. You can say why in your head. It is on one particular person who also is responsible for the most recent, okay? The longest government shutdown in U.S. history was in 2019 by the same person, and it happened over the discussion surrounding the border wall, okay? And how we were going to fund it and where that funding was going to come from. That was the longest shutdown in history, and it lasted 34 days. A government shutdown comes from funding gaps, which is just a fancy word for there's not enough money. There's not enough money to continue operating the government. Is it true that workers might not get back pay? Is that lawful? I got your answer. Let me answer it now, and I'll cover it again as well. So, it is partially true that workers do not get pay during a shutdown. However, they are legally required by the U.S. Constitution to back pay them. So, if a worker is not getting paid in the current time, like when we had the 34-day shutdown, those workers were not paid. Anybody non-essential, okay, that's important. There's a distinguishment between essential and non-essential workers. And so if you are deemed not essential, you are required to, or well, if you're deemed essential, you're required to work for free, but you are not required to work for free forever. That is the short answer to the question. They are required by the Constitution to pay them back. And it literally defends it when it gives Congress is the one who has to determine their pay and stuff like that. So no, if they're not getting paid at all, like outside of the government shutdown, when the government shutdown is over, if they do not get their back pay, that is unlawful. If it is not unlawful, however, to Barbie the baddest, welcome in. How are you, girl? It is not unlawful to not pay them during the shutdown. In fact, that's just how it works. It's crappy, but that's how it works. Did that answer your question? Barbie the baddest, thank you so much, girl. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you. Oh, there's your little rascals. Oh, I appreciate you, girl. It's so good to see you. Okay, good, Fave Ashley. Okay, so the shutdown comes from a disagreement. Okay, it can come from a disagreement, but generally it happens when a budget cannot be agreed on. That is the shutdown that we're in currently right now. Now, for everybody who has anxiety, let me calm your anxiety. Most of your state governments are currently and should stay open through a shutdown. Okay, state and federal are separate. So this is a federal shutdown. While I could see how people would believe that it's going to affect their states, it may have a... thank you! Thank you for the cap. Oh my gosh, you're spoiling me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So let me calm your anxiety. If you are on Fave Ashley, thank you for the friendship gifts. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you for these gifts. I did not expect this. Thank you guys so much. Fave Ashley, thank you for meeting the gift call, lighting up at the gift gallery. Barbie, thank you for being the title gifter of the rose. Thank you guys. And Fave, oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Let me calm your anxiety. And 64.4K. Oh my God. Thank you all so much. Thank you. And the taps and everything. Barbie the fattest. I love you so much, girl. Thank you. Thank you. Let me calm your anxiety, okay? If you are on Social Security, if you are on unemployment benefits, if you are getting EBT, if you are getting any of those. Elena, thank you for being here. This is the last topic, so you covered most of it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I forgot what to say. Okay, if you are on any of those government programs, do not fret. Student loans, do not fret. Any of those things. Thank you, Barbie. I appreciate you too. Thank you. And you're not a distraction at all. I appreciate you coming in, girl. And, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate the compliment. So if you are on any of those programs, do not fret. You may have a delay in benefits. Not everybody experiences that, but it's a possibility. And that is the worst of the worst, okay? It cannot just get discontinued. The Constitution, Article 2, okay, covers this. So if you want to fact check me on it, go ahead. It's in Article 2. Yeah, for real. Let's shut down loan repayment. That's no joke. That's no joke. But the Constitution does protect things like Social Security. Anything the Constitution says, anything that is attributed to life or property, the protection of life or the protection of property is specifically protected, all right? So that's why we've seen judges come down with the opinions and the cases, we seen them result the way that they did because the judges basically said the Constitution says you cannot mess with Social Security, you cannot mess with food stamps, you cannot mess with Medicaid, Medicare, you can't cut the spending. It doesn't matter because the Constitution protects these rights because it is protected life and it's protecting property. Okay, so woosa, right? All right, your benefits will still be there. Okay, your state government should be open right now as we speak. You can check on it, but they should not be affected by this shutdown. The teaching mama, welcome in. Great to see you. The most recent one happened on October 1st. We're here on day 14. All right. They have occurred several times. All right. Obama had a shutdown that lasted, I think they said 8 days. I think that one lasted. But they're generally short. Okay. The longest one was 34 days. So generally like 8 to 16 days. 16 days is considered a long shutdown. But they have occurred several times in our history and can affect critical services and programs and cost federal agencies lots of moolah. Okay, so they also do not want a shutdown, but we should not want shutdowns because a shutdown means that we are not coming to important conclusions and agreements. We are not being bipartisan or diplomatic because we cannot come to a conclusion that is for the benefit of life and property. Okay, that's essentially what they're saying. Now, shutdowns are expensive. We don't want them because they're on our taxpayer dollars, because guess what? We don't get to opt out of taxes just because the government shut down, right? We still have to pay. So if you hear that myth, bust it. If you hear that myth, nope, hard pass. You know that's not true, and you know that's not constitutional. Okay, so, but they are expensive, and they do cost taxpayers money, and they do cost federal agencies money, because while we're still paying our taxes, they're not working, and therefore they're not working for us or to do anything that will benefit life and property, because they're shut down. So before the early 1980s, when funding expired, federal agencies continued operating. They would reduce their workers or pause operations without closing fully. So that's how they used to do that. Activities that are paused on the federal level during shutdowns are hiring, grant making, and non-emergency travel. Those three things do not happen during a shutdown. So right now, there is no hiring happening, there's no grant making happening, and there's no non-emergency travel happening because our government is shut down. In the 1970s, legislation became associated with contentious policy issues, okay? This is when it started becoming associated with things like integration, school integrations, all right? Brown versus Board of Education wasn't passed until 1954. Debate persisted well into the 1970s. You guys, that is... I cannot believe that. That after the Supreme Court said integration needs to happen, that meant that states could still leave it in their state constitution lawfully, and it was debated on doing so well into the 1970s. This is where we started seeing issues like babies in the womb and what rights do they have, okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about. And school integration, this is when we've seen legislation become associated with more of that, okay? And government shutdowns being associated with policy rather than being low on budgets. In 1977 and 1980, there was 6 different funding gaps between 8 and 17 days. Again, get past 16, 17 days, that's a very long shutdown. So there were 6 funding gaps within 3 years. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter asked the U.S. Attorney General, whose name was Benjamin Civiletti, one of those two, not sure how to pronounce it, but Let me see here. Here we go. I'm gonna write his name down if you guys want to look into him. His name is Benjamin Civiletti or something of that nature. There it is for you guys for a second. That's the guy's name. He was the U.S. Attorney General at the time, and President Carter wanted to know how to lawfully handle funding gaps under an act called the Anti-Deficiency Act, okay? This was a federal act. And this federal act was made to constrain agency operations during funding lapses, and it pretty much made it so that it kept agencies, including the president, from spending more than Congress gave them to spend. That was the main idea of this act. That is called the Anti-Deficiency Act. Yes, thank you, Fave Ashley. Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Port City, welcome in. So he asked him to do this. So his legal opinion, which was written once and then again in 81, I believe it was. So he wrote a couple different opinions, but the one that stood became landmark, and this is still how we operate because it changed how we shut down the government and what we shut it down for. In fact, it made it a little more lax. Let me tell you what he said. He said that this prohibits agencies from expending federal funds before they are budgeted. That was one thing. He said that they cannot spend more than they have. He's saying that this law, the anti-deficiency law, is legally saying they have to follow these rules, right? They cannot spend more than they're allotted by Congress. They cannot write IOUs to make it look like there is no deficiency in the budget, so they can't lapse it. They can't write an IOU and the next president has to pick up the tab on their budget. Can't do it. It's not allowed legally. And they cannot use funds before they are budgeted to them by Congress.
Did Charlie eat?
Huh?
Did Charlie eat?
No, not yet. Or yes, he did. He did. Okay, so they cannot also accept voluntary services. So anything that is considered not essential, they cannot pay for it unless Congress has allotted a budget for a voluntary service. It also enforced that Congress had congressional authority over federal spending. So, which was also backed up by the Constitution. I can't quite remember which article, but I want to say 14, but I don't think it is. Okay, so the executive branch cannot operate the government without having funding allotted, and agencies have to report violations or face consequences for not following or enforcing the Anti-Deficiency Act. This can result in an administrative discipline and or fines and imprisonment if it was a willful violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act. The ADA was enacted in 1884 and then amended in 1950 and again amended in 1982. We talked about the longest shutdown. Let me tell you the difference in how we handle our government. So basically, our Constitution it allows everything we just discussed in the anti-deficiency law. That's how they're supposed to handle shutdowns. A government will shut down because of a disagreement on policy, as we've seen in 2019, and they can shut down because of budgetary reasons. So when this attorney gave his assessment of an interpretation of what the law said, and then the judges backed it up, that's why it stood solid that There are a lot of things they can and can't do that they have to report, all of that thing. And it changed it so that it would allow for the government to shut down on policy as well as budget. That's essentially what his responses did. And it became ingrained because this is the way that the judges agreed was backed up by the Constitution. So in other countries, let's look at this for a second. In other countries, for example, Germany's law, how is it different from the US? That's what we're looking at. Germany's law states that if a legislative does not enact a budget, that they must vote and elect a new government. And their law states that the government won't be able to pass a budget until fiscal year end. So, one, in Germany, if they can't come to an agreement, they have to elect a new representatives in their government. Those representatives that get elected cannot pass a budget until the year is done and they're starting a new fiscal year. So they have to wait. They'll just go with no budget. And in order to continue operating their government, they will slash people. They will slash their government's things. And they do not allow for, like our Constitution allows for people to get paid. So, if you know somebody who is having trouble with this in the United States right now, as far as pay goes, they should report to their direct supervisor. If you are having any issues with the services you're receiving, let me tell you, you can go to the HUD website and find out if any of your housing will be affected by the government shutdown. You can go to like your FAFSA websites, student aid and student loans. You can go there and find out if your student loans will be delayed or affected in any way by the shutdown. But hopefully we don't beat our record, because that would suck. Hopefully we don't beat 34 days, but we're practically halfway there. So I don't know. We'll see. But there are places you can go if you're concerned about getting your pay, getting your benefits, and all of that. Okay? So, South Korea's law and constitution says that if the legislature is late in enacting a budget, that they will conform to the same budget they had for the previous year. So if they can't decide, they go off of what their budget was the previous fiscal year. And that's how they solve it. Personally, if I were to change the law, first of all, I don't think it's right to have a government shutdown based on policy. I think that is a loophole. I don't know. I haven't really thought how we would close that loophole. But I think it is a loophole to shut your government down based on a policy. Based on a disagreement of policy. I think that means you need to be in your chair working. And we better be debating. I better be watching C-SPAN for 4 days straight if y'all haven't come up with it yet. So I think I would like to see the difference like South Korea has. I think if we can't come up with something on a budget, that we should have to go with the previous year's budget. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys think that that would be a good thing. And you don't have to agree with me. You could say no. You could be like, absolutely not. Never coming. Never coming again. I totally disagree. That's okay. I won't be offended. 1. Yes, I think it is. I think it is. I think it would solve a lot of government shutdowns rather than waiting it out. 1. Yes. Yes, makes sense. I think so too. I agree. I think South Korea is onto something. And they will stick with that prior year's budget until a new budget is agreed upon. And I think that would solve a lot of our problems. Because, in 2019, the longest shutdown was an issue of funding for a policy, right? For a policy change that we wanted. So I think if I were to change something about how it's done now, I would change it. I think we should have to follow the previous year's budget. And I think we should be able to not shut down the government for policy, because government shutdowns are expensive and it affects the people. Even if we experience a delay in our benefits or a delay in filing our taxes, but you will be happy to know that all of that thing, you might have a delay, but it's only going to be because they cut their stuff from essential workers to non-essential workers. You see what I mean? So they furloughed non-essential workers, which only means that they are deciding what they're going to do with their people. That's what a furlough is. It's not a layoff. You're not fired. Your manager, your direct supervisor is going to be deciding, because they can move you around. They could take people in the non-essential group and throw them into jobs in the essential group. There's ways around it. And that is why we heard in 2019, and we're hearing currently, the president say, I'm firing all of these people, but you're hearing their managers say, no, show up to work. Because first off, the Constitution protects those essential workers, which is air comptrollers, your IRS agents, all of those people are considered essential. So while they might be working for free right now because the government is shut down, they will be entitled to their pay. Congress is another one. The Constitution says that Congress and the president's wages cannot be messed with. It's set in stone. So they're automatically essential employees. So then the last country that I looked at was the UK, and their law states that if they are unable to reach a budget, then their people have to agree that they can't reach a budget. Then they have to elect a new government, and then that new government passes funding legislation. 81.4K. You guys are amazing. Okay, so that was the information I dug up for you guys, and I really wanted to hit home that I know that there's a lot of anxiety with the government shutdowns, especially because we're what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Know that you still have rights. Know that the Constitution still stands. Know that you should have access to all of your benefits, and that any state shortage that comes in programs like EBT or anything like that, those are covered by other state funds. So all of those should be good. I know that there's a lot of what is going on? I know there's a lot of that. But please know, and please pass on the information, that as of right now, today, in this hour, at 8:45 p.m., wherever you are, Eastern Standard Time or some other time zone, know that where you sit right now, whatever time it is, the Constitution still stands. Don't let nobody tell you that you shouldn't be getting your benefits or that you shouldn't be getting your rights. Regardless. Okay? That's what I'm driving home. So, yes. Any other questions about government shutdowns? And Fave Ashley, did I answer all of the questions that your little heart could possibly think of? That was all the stuff I dug up. It is becoming more prevalent, which is a little concerning. Lassie, thank you for the rose. I can see why people are very much concerned. But we don't need to worry too much. Judges have already said that Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, very essential stuff that protects life and protects property cannot be messed with. So if you are having issues, if you're getting EBT or Medicaid and you're having issues with your stuff, you should be able to go to your local office, and those local offices should still be open, up and running. And you should be able to get all the information that you need. You also probably could search a little bit for yourself. Yes, Lassie. I am also thankful, because they should not be able to do that. That would be a pass for me. That would be a no for me. But yes, that is what I wanted to address in the information. So know that this has happened before. We are not anywhere in history right now. that we have not been before. When we watch Hamilton in the Discord, Lori with love, if you're on Discord, we're having a Hamilton watch party on November 1st. You can find all the information on my page. Anybody else who's new here, all the information on my page. I would love for you guys to be there. Graduation is going to be fun, guys, and it's coming up. And that was the last thing that I want to touch with you guys on. I started touching on it, and then my brain. Oh my goodness. I seen a car or a bus or a squirrel or a kid or something. My mind ran. But yes, so if anybody else has a question on government shutdowns, I'll give a few more seconds. And if I know, I will know. If I don't, I will have to look into it for you. But do know that everything that is happening right now has happened before in U.S. history. And the people always come back winning. And our country is designed that the people will always come back winning. And the Constitution always wins. And so, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if why is there a court case if the Constitution always wins? It's a good thing there's a court case. Because that's where the Constitution always wins, is in court. So, everything should be good. There is no need to stress as far as government programs are concerned in this time of a government shutdown. Know that this particular person is well known for making historical numbers when it comes to government shutdowns. But, however, the Constitution still stands. So, it's going to be hard to get some of those policies pushed through and approved by Congress when you have to follow what the Constitution says, and the Constitution is protecting those things. So, whether somebody believes that should happen or whether somebody does not believe that should happen, it's just a fact of the matter. So, okay. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to move on to this last and final thing that I'm going to spend time talking to you guys about tonight. I can't believe we're at class 5, you guys. I'm like two more classes. We have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to graduation. We are playing constitutional bingo. Okay? We're going to play that. We're going to play a round of Bill Blitz. We're going to play maybe 2 rounds of draw and guess, or maybe more than that. I don't know. We're going to go until our little hearts are content. Those are the 3 games I have. And also constitutional Would You Rather. We played that last week. That was very fun. I think I'm going to open up with that game just to let everybody kind of filter in and do their thing. Now, here is my thing. So, I have everybody's certificate. I'm getting everybody's certificate ready because you'll all get a certificate. I would love if when you get your certificate, you post it and let everybody know I'm graduating. Come see me, or post it after graduation, whichever one you want. But everybody will have a certificate. Now, it is hard after the constitutional crew. I haven't decided yet. I was going to talk to you guys and see what you wanted. I could design another class. I'll need a little bit, but we'll have to decide what are we going to want to do, crew? What do we want to cover? Does anybody have any topics that come off the top of their head? Because I definitely want to keep it going. You guys are amazing. You blew me out of the water, to be honest. I thought I was going to get on here and maybe talk to 1 person or 2 people. I was like, I guess 7 weeks. It's going to be me and Kaylee Brown of here. Or me and Cassandra. Y'all came through, man. Y'all came through. I appreciate that. But does anybody have any suggestions? Things that we'd like to cover? I do want to continue, even if we don't put another class in the future. Yes, Miss Lojo, I am organizing a workshop on that. I would like to do a class on that. And look at Eddie, 6.5K. Thank you. Yay, Cassandra. I'm so happy. I am going to be messaging a couple of you. Put a 1 in the chat if you would like to give a little student spiel. That's one thing I need to get in order that you guys can help me with tonight. If you would like to speak, it is not a requirement. And you only have to speak for like 3 minutes or whatever. Say something that you learned or that you liked about the class or whatever. Whatever your little heart desires that you want to say. 2. Is that a no, Fave Ashley, or a yes? Did I say 2? Did I say 1? I can't remember. Oh my gosh, my brain is fried. Because I had a couple of you in mind to ask, but I didn't know if, you know, it's a no from me. Faye Ashley's like, yay! And that's all she has to say. It's okay, Faye Ashley. That's why I thought you put the 2, but I was like, did I say 1, 2? Huh? Nah. I understand stage fright. Shoot, I get stage fright. And I do stuff on stage. Okay, well, there is, if there's no volunteers, there's one person in particular I was going to ask, and I will message you. Okay, Cassandra, because you were it. Yeah, you were my person I was wondering about. Fur, what you doing, baby? Okay, so you can think about it. There's time. Guys, we got 2 weeks. Okay, so, and then I'm going to have an attorney speaking. I'm trying to get my sister, husband, yes, who is an attorney. He's international, though. He's from Nigeria, and I would like for him to speak, but I haven't started that particular one. And I would like to find Miss Lojo. Yay! Okay. All right, now I know what to connect with you guys. Yes. Yay. Okay. I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited. We're going to play games. So those 3 games that we talked about. Yes, Duchess's husband is an attorney in Nigeria, and I really want him to come speak. If I can't get him to come speak at graduation, I'm going to set it up for a different, a different live. So I think from now, like at the end of the graduation, I think that I will just continue with these different workshops. So Miss Lojo, I have one that I'm putting together for the church where we will go to Discord, do a documentary, and then Kings Bear 31. Hi, Autumn. How are you, girl?
Autumn, do you have your phone fixed yet?
But yes, after that, I think I'm just going to do the workshops, and that'll give me some time if we're going to do another class or whatever we're going to do next. So I do have one. I sent you guys the information. Let me go back to the diplomas too, because I realized I didn't finish saying what I was saying. My bad. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm arranging. So we'll play the 3 games. I'll have a couple speakers. We'll have our student speakers, and then we'll have our lawyers speak. That will probably be around the 2-hour mark, and then we're going to hop over to Discord, and we'll have our Hamilton watch party there. So have your snacks ready. November 1st, all right? Invite everybody. Tell everybody about it. So that's going back to the certificates. The people, I tried, you guys. I tried figuring out every person that was at any of my classes so that I could give everybody a certificate. It is next to impossible. I cannot figure it out how, I don't know how to figure it out. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. But, however, the Constitution crew, those of you that were getting texts or emails, those of you that are in the those of you that are in the TikTok chat, the Constitution crew, you're guaranteed a certificate, okay? So if you're in here and you're like, I only been here once, twice, floated in, but I would like a certificate, you can do one of 2 things. Contact me, DM me, say, hey, I would like a certificate. Or you can sign up for the class. And so, because right now, the most efficient way for me to do this is to everybody that signed up, which is most of you that have been here for every class. Yeah! I really did. You guys blew me away. I did not expect. You're such a great crew, you guys. So right now, like, let's see, Kaylee, Miss Lojo, Fave Ashley, Cassandra, Kaylee, Lassie. I think, man, it's hard to say everybody. Thank you for the love you so much. All of you guys, you know who you are. If you signed up for the class, you are guaranteed a certificate because that is the best way I know how to do this. And really, honestly, like, I want to give you guys the perks because you signed up and you came and you made this so fun. So, yeah, so I'm so excited to celebrate with you guys. There will be prizes. Hello. I'm so excited for prizes. There will be prizes. U.S. Wars. Yes.
You mean the Revolutionary War?
So, past the Revolutionary War, Fave Ashley? Current, past, everything? Do you want me to cover it like I covered the shutdowns? What are we feeling? I would love to cover that topic. Thank you guys for being interested in contacting me. I love ya. So, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate y'all. I love ya. I love ya. I love ya. And how they're similar and different. Okay, I could do that. I could do that. Thank you for pinning Lassie. Thank you. Thank you, Cassandra. I appreciate you guys. I hope that I did, and I am happy that I did. And like, I listen to you guys say what you learned and stuff when I come into your guys' live, like, because I'm always curious. Y'all know, I'm always like, what you learn? Tell me. I'm always curious. I want to know if I met my goal of this class, and, you know, and I met all of you wonderful people, and it's great. Kaylee Brown and I, we remember we wanted to do a case study on Hot Dog Man. 90.1K. Let's see if we can get to 100 before I shut this bee down. Okay. I'm getting a little too sassy. Just kidding. Okay. Yes, Kaylee Brown. Hot Dog Man. We are definitely trying to make this hashtag happen. And so for those of you that were not there, which it was just Kaylee Brown and me, but we also talked about it with Cassandra and a few of you guys. We talked about the premises of the case. We went through the whole case. So I know that's something that you guys want to do. So I think I will just start going back to topics like we had Lawland Lives, you know, every Wednesday. I think I'll just go back to that until we decide like what is going to be our next class. And then I'll start designing it, and then I'll announce it when it's all ready to roll out. Because like this class I have all 7 weeks planned. And then we're working on planning graduation. So it takes a little bit of time. Major cases that shaped America. Yes. These are all great ideas. I'm going to write them down. Hang on. Okay. So we want to go over major cases that shaped America. And we want to go over U.S. wars. We want to cover Hot Dog Man case. Because that was a really fun one, you guys. So I think that's kind of generally the way that I'll go until, like, if there is something that I could pack enough into, you know, a few weeks. Girl, do not get me banned.
I won't get you banned.
If there's stuff that we can pack into, like, a few weeks, I will turn it into a course. So my end goal is to turn it back into a course. But until then, we can take all of these, and then I will do separately some of the Discord watch party. So our Discord watch party, the first one that we are going to cover, will be October 25th at 4 p.m. It's a Saturday. I think I'm going to leave them on Saturdays. Because I know people work, and I know people can work on Saturday too, but I think it will just work better. where we can watch these different documentaries and discuss them afterwards. They're very good documentaries, and there's tons of them. Like, tons of them. I've watched so many. So this first one is going to be on the Michelle Carter case that we discussed last week. So mark your calendars. I sent it to you as well. If you signed up, you got the emails and stuff. If you're not in the Discord or you're not signed up, there's still time, baby. You can still get your certificate, and you can still be part of the fun. So the link is in my bio for that, for where to sign up. My bio has lots of great links, you guys. If you want to keep up with my health journey, that link is in there. If you want to anything, lots of good links. So you guys can go check that out. But yes, major cases that shaped America, U.S. wars, hot dog man case. And then the watch party will be on the 25th. I will continue to advertise that. I wanted to advertise. Yes, Faye Ashley. Oh, I would be happy to cover that. That is kind of a crisis right now. Yes, I would be. Oh, man, you guys are giving me good ideas. Miss Lojo. Oh, okay. So let me make that a workshop, because I have a good documentary for that. Lassie and I have had plenty of discussions. Yes. Anybody that has children, Faye Ashley, I don't know if your kids are old enough to be doing this, but oh my goodness, so many puns on that man.
I am.
Public services and how they vary from state to state. Ooh, you guys are going to keep me busy. I like that one too. I like that one. I'm writing all these ideas down, because I know there was a couple we brought up last week too that we wanted to get into. Great ideas, you guys. I might just have to shove all of these into into another class. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 topics that we could literally just create another class. And each week it would be like a 6-week class or something, and each week we'll cover your guys' topics. How would you guys rather me do it that way, to put it all into one course for you, and figure out how they come together and like talk about the different things that affect it and the different cases? So it'll be kind of like what we just did, but less, constitutional per se. It'd be more focused on, like, if it's public services, it would be focused on state to state laws. I could, yes, Miss Lojo, you and me both, and Cassandra probably. Oh my gosh, if you got all of us into a courtroom, it would be a filibuster. Do you hear me? It wouldn't even be a court case anymore. We'll get Faye Ashley's mom to come. Oh, man. We're going to make the best legal team. Yes. Yes. Education laws. Ooh, man. I love me a discussion on No Child Left Behind, you guys. Education laws and schools. And variances by state, right? That's a very good one. She will be, I'm sorry, Faye Ashley. Yes, but she will. Good military policies. But yes, I believe very much so, Faye Ashley, that she would be there. Happily, probably dancing in heaven, telling you all the things to say. Okay, yes, military laws. And we could talk about their government, because Don't Ask, Don't Tell was very wrapped up in their government, right? That led to a lot of things, that policy change right there. That would be great one too. Tell me what that means, Miss Lojo. Is it an acronym for something? Miss Lojo, you could probably help me with that topic a lot, huh? Military, laws, and government. Oh, yes. Okay. Uniform Code of Military Justice. I don't know that I know too much about that. Isn't there someone else who was in the military in here, or is it just Miss Lojo? I'm writing this down, Miss Lojo, because I'm going to look into it. Yes. It is a federal law. So we could do this either way you guys want. We could change up, you know, you're only, okay. And had to, that's horrible. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, that's cool though. I didn't know. I thought, Cassandra, I thought you had mentioned something about military. So we will cover a lot of this stuff. I will work on this, and maybe I can figure out how to put all the topics into a second course. And so I can start working on some of those ideas as we get closer to finishing this. If I can't figure out how to like pull it all together into one course, then we'll just do it separate. And we'll just cover each of these topics week by week on Law Live Wednesdays, and we'll keep going. Bishop, welcome in until we get to the bottom. Oh, see? You learn something new every day. I didn't know that. So you just did you go to like basic training? Is that how you did? Okay, that's right. So you were saying something about the government. Okay, I remember. Or not about the government, but you were saying something about the military. Okay. I seem to recall something, but I couldn't quite remember exactly. Okay. And then ended up having to pay. Girl, I'm sorry. That sucks. I did not know that was an option, though. Furley. Kiss. Okay, so that is interesting. Okay, y'all got interesting lives, man. I love getting to know y'all. Okay. All right, so let's stick with this, and as topics come up, feel free to DM me, put them in our Constitution connection. Furley, Lassie says hi. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Yes. So we'll go with these topics. I'll see if I can figure out how to put them all into a group. I'm working on putting the workshop together for the church, but because there is a documentary, a very good one that I think, and we're almost at 100K. You guys are amazing. You guys are so sweet. You guys are too sweet to me. I love it. Thank you so much. So we'll work on that, and I will keep you guys updated on where we're headed in the next couple of weeks. And well, we know what we're doing in the next couple of weeks. Karen Reed, good. I have a good one on that too. I loved that case. Loved. The documentary that I watched on it came right as her new trial was starting. And that was a very interesting case. And I like about these cases, ooh, man, Bowl Cuts is not in here, is she? Let me see. I think she's not. I think she's not. But Bowl Cuts I was telling her in one of her chats that I was going to tell her what I liked about Taylor Swift, because I wouldn't consider myself a Swiftie. However, I do like Taylor Swift in that I looked into the cases, and did you know that Taylor Swift is the only billionaire? Anyway, she's the only woman who has become rich strictly off of her music alone. And part of the reason that happened was because she fought for her originals back. So the whole, Taylor's version, against a producer who bought her stuff from the original producer she was with and then refused to give her her things, her originals back. And that court case, I really liked how it seriously empowered women and really empowered artists even more than women. I really like that how it changed and that she really fought for what she believed in, and the legal fight was amazing. Long, very drawn out, a lot of weaponizing fan clubs, 100K! You guys, yay! Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Yay! Thank you for pinning, Lassie. Thank you. So yeah, that is I'm not a Swiftie, but in the legal sense, I am a Swiftie because I would definitely have rooted for her. I thought she had very legitimate legal questions about why she wanted her originals back and wanted, and it just was a very empowering thing for, yes, a billionaire. Yes. Off of her music alone. Not doing a side hustle, not doing any kind of, designing, some artists do different things. She's a billionaire off her own music. That's it. That's a big accomplishment. Huge. And it means a lot for, it means a lot for the law and for artists in the future. What her case was and the precedents that they set as they went through each case in her fight. So that's what I like about Taylor Swift. The other thing I learned out of the Taylor Swift documentaries and the Karen Reed documentaries were about weaponizing your fan base. I would like to cover something on that or do a workshop on that. So I'm just going to write that down because I was really passionate after I seen that Taylor Swift and the Karen Reed too. Both of them had fan bases that they weaponized, and so did the music producer. I don't know why his name is blanking right now on me, but so did he. And ultimately, Taylor Swift has a huge fan base, you guys. The Swifties are a force to be reckoned with. Scooter Braun, thank you, Lassie. Yes. Scooter Braun also had a fan base that was behind him. And when you see these court cases, they're huge. They put screens outside the courtroom so that the public can come and watch them happen in real time. Cases like that get very tricky because like we were talking about is public opinion earlier. So cases like that can get very tricky. So, okay, you guys. I have to get my boys, I think they're playing with their dad right now. I don't know, playing Fortnite. But, so mark your calendars for October 25th. I have not advertised it anywhere but you guys because I want you guys, like I said, I want all the opportunities really, I want to focus on the people who signed up and showed up, and I appreciate people who also showed up, coming in, and filtering in, and I love having new people, so I want to recognize them too, but, yeah, I totally forgot what I was saying. Lassie, thank you for the friendship necklace. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed it. Aww. But I really want to focus on everybody, and I want to celebrate everybody, but like I said, it's kind of hard for me to find out. TMB, we are just heading out of here. It's hard for me, but thank you for coming by. Glitz, welcome in. Thank you for coming in. We're just about to get out of here. I swear the algorithm sends more people as soon as somebody says that. I'm happy you guys are here though. But I do want to recognize everybody, and I want everybody to know that they're welcome in the space, and I just love the time that I spend here with you guys. But it is very difficult for me to find out everybody. Thank you, Miss Lojo. Good night, girl. Don't miss your kiss. It's coming here in a minute. But I just want to focus on you guys, because you guys really make this community great. You come in here, you guys are giving me all the likes. Like right now, we're at 101.6. And we spend a lot of time together, and it's great. The discussions are great. You guys are involved. You guys, you know, like feel like I'm giving useful information, and that means a lot to me. Okay, so that is why if you don't see your name tagged or something of that nature, it is because I'm trying to go through everybody that signed up for the class and make sure that they are included in all the things. So if October 25th doesn't work for you, but you want to be there, or if the time doesn't work for you, but you want to be there, please let me know. I think I'm going to go maybe one more day before I announce it to the public. Miss Lojo says, hearts, baby llama. She says hi. Thank you. But yes, so there is that. Okay, I'm very excited for graduation. I want to celebrate with everybody. If you've been here only a few times and it doesn't, you know, I'm happy to get you a certificate. I just need to know you want a certificate, because it was going to take me so much time to figure out who's been in here just once. You know what I'm saying? Like for the class. But I know that those who signed up have been here consistently every time, and I'm just really looking forward to turning up with everybody. So if you did not sign up, you can either A, sign up, and then you'll get all the updates too. You'll get to know all this extra stuff before it even gets posted on TikTok, to open it up to everybody else. Or two, you can DM me and let me know if you just want to wait for the next time so you can sign up, or however you want to do. But I think everybody that is still here with me is signed up. So you guys have already been getting all the goods. So we're going to do that. All right. So that's on the 25th. If that does not work for you and you want to be there, let me know, because you know, in Discord, I don't think there's like a replay feature or anything. But that is planned for the 25th at 4, and I sent you guys out the flyer, so you should have that. It's going to be some fun. If you're not in the Discord, come join us and get in the Discord. There's a link in my bio. If that link does not work, let me know, and we'll make sure we get you in there. Also, before graduation, if you're not already in my Discord, jump in the Discord. Okay, so and then the church one, I'm still working on organizing, but I will have something for you guys up, I would say by this weekend, scheduled for that. I just need to figure out what day will work, because the following Saturday will be our graduation after the 25th, and so I don't want to do nothing on that Saturday, so probably the second Saturday in November, I'm going to say. So that's all the announcements. If you're already in Discord, watch your community, and your, I think it's like all about community or everything community, something like that. That's where I post all of the announcements. Then we have any of the Discord options you can get involved in, theater therapy, any of the articles. We have a Christian chat in there that I like to just post things. So if you have anything, you can go in that one. Just anything. Cassandra and Miss Lojo, I will be contacting you sometime this week prior to next week's class. So give me from now until next Wednesday to get in touch with you guys. I want to be able to make this seamless. So we'll figure out how we're going to do. You two will be our speakers, our student speakers. And then we are going to play, like I said, bingo. If you guys weren't in here earlier, we have a constitutional bingo that we are going to play. I will send those cards out to you. My goal is a day before the 1st. or that last class. I will make sure you guys have your certificates and your bingo stuff. So share, share, share. When you see stuff pop up, like it, comment. Woo, so excited. Come with us. And then share it out for me. Or don't comment. Just share it out. Either way, it's up to you guys. I love y'all. We're gonna get out of here. I've been rambling forever. Mark your calendars for the 25th. Mark your calendars for the 1st of November, and I will get the information out for the second watch party. And I'm very, very much hoping that this all goes well. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, guys, and so much love to you guys too. Oh my gosh. Okay, are you ready? Here it comes. And we got to get ready.
I'm ready.
Baby Lucky Llama says she's ready. Okay, here it comes. Oh, I missed it. Okay. There it was. Did you guys get it? Did you guys catch your kiss? Put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Whenever you're feeling like you need a little love, then pull it out and put it right here. And then I'll give you another one when I see you next week. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Lassie caught it. Fave Ashley, thank you, thank you. I hope that I brought on some good information, and I really, truly love you guys. Like I said at the beginning, I'm done worrying about all that TikTok stuff. I can't even stand it anymore. I just want to be with my community, and you guys make it wonderful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Next Wednesday, when we cover
Hot dog man.
Hot dog man. Anaya says hot dog man. No, that is not it. I'm trying to find the page. I wrote all my outlines down. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know. We're going to be covering constitutional stuff. All right, so I'll let you guys know. You'll get your little thing. And in the meantime, stay constitutional, y'all. I love ya.